Good morning, cadets. We have studied the lesson The Tiger King. The Tiger King is a satire, and here the king doesn't think about the welfare of his subjects, but is self centered and is only thinking how to kill the tigers because the prediction was that he would be killed by the tiger. The irony is that it is a wooden tiger which was responsible for his death. Though he was quite brave and courageous, he killed 99 tigers. At the end, it was a wooden toy, which was a tiger, that ultimately killed him. We have seen the theme, we have discussed the theme, then we have also discussed the summary of this story. Today we are going to discuss the questions that have appeared in the textbook. So today we are going to take up textual questions, short answer type questions, as well as long answer type questions. So today let us discuss the questions in this session. At first, let's discuss the short type answer questions which have appeared in the textbook. So at first we are going to take up textual questions which are short type questions. So the expected lines will be 3 to 4 in the case of these questions. Who is the Tiger King? The king of Pratibandpuram is the Tiger King, or the Maharaja of Pratibandpuram is the Tiger King. Why does he get that name? He got that name because at the time of his birth, astrologers predicted that he would die due to a tiger. Astrologers predicted that he would be killed by a tiger. So when he grew up, he decided to kill all the tigers, and therefore he came to be known as the Tiger King. Therefore he was called as a Tiger King. He killed 99 tigers, but it was the 100th tiger, which was a wooden one, was responsible for his death. So that was instrumental in his death. So it was the wooden tiger which was responsible for the death of the Tiger King. Question number 2. What did the royal infant grow up to be? Now he was an infant of 10 days old and he enunciated, he uttered few words. He asked the manner in which he is going to die when the astrologers had predicted that he would be killed. The royal infant grew up to be a strong young man. He was brought up in the English environment. So he was taken care a lot. He was looked after very well. He drank milk of a white cow. So if somebody drinks milk of cow, it is considered that he would be a very brainy person. He would become a very intelligent person. He was taken care by an English nanny. So he was taken care by an English woman. Tutored, he was taught in English by an Englishman and saw only English films. So he was looked after very well. When he was a child, he They have taken a lot of care, and when he came of the age, he was declared the king. At the age of 20, he became the king. Question number 3. What will the Maharaja do? What will the king do to find the required number of tigers to kill? The astrologer has predicted that he would be killed by the tiger. So within 10 years, the Maharaja killed 70 tigers. 30 more tigers were required to be shot. But there were no more tigers left in the forest of Pratibandpuram. Now he was the king of Pratibandpuram. The name of his kingdom, Pratibandpuram. He has killed 70 tigers and there were no more tigers left. So the Maharaja decided to marry a girl from a royal family of a state which had a large tiger population. Question number 4. How will the Maharaja prepare himself for the 100 tiger which was supposed to decide his fate? The astrologer had predicted there was no problem till he kills 99 tigers. Very brave, courageous king. He could kill 99 tigers, but it's 100 tiger which would kill him. The Maharaja had killed all the tigers in his kingdom as well as those in his father-in-law's kingdom. The number reached 99 tigers. So only one more tiger was required to complete the Maharaja's mission. But by this time what had happened? Tigers became extinct. In order to search for the last tiger, the Maharaja announced 3 years exemption from all taxes for the village, which gave him the news about the probability of a tiger. So what happened? 3 years tax exemption was there to that village where it was believed that the tiger had come over there nearby Hilak. In his rage, he even doubled the land taxes when he was not able to find the tiger and gave a warning to the Diwan of losing his job. Question number 5. What will now happen to the astrologer? Do you think the prophecy was indisputably disproved? So what is going to happen to the astrologer? No harm will be done to the astrologer because the astrologer was no more by that time. What had happened? Astrologer had died. The king thought that he had killed 100 tigers. But in reality what had happened? He missed the 100 tiger which was killed by its officers. So those who were accompanying him, those hunters who were accompanying him, they had killed the 100 tiger. Therefore, the astrologer's prophecy was not indisputably disapproved. So the prophecy, the prediction which was given, that was not disapproved because the 100 tiger was not killed by the king. Let's discuss the long answer type questions which are there in the textbook. So here the first question, which is a very important question, that is, the story is a satire on the conceit of those in power. How does the author employ the literary device of dramatic irony in the story? The story is a satire. What does satire mean? Satire is a style of writing, a literary style in which the writer uses humor in order to show the foolishness, weaknesses, the personality traits wherein we find the bad qualities of a person. So here the writer has made use of the satire on the conceit of those who are in power. So those who are in power, who are not genuinely interested in the welfare of the people, but they try to pretend, they try to pretend that they are really interested in the concern of the people. They are the ones who have got conceit, who have got pride. So those who have got pride, who are proud of themselves, who are in power, so it is satire on them. So here we find the king is not interested so much in the welfare of people, but he is concerned about himself. He is considerate. So it's a satire on those people who are in power, who are powerful people. How does the author employ, how does the author use this literary device of dramatic irony in this story? The Maharaja embodies the conceit of a powerful man. So what he has is proud of himself. He appears to be quite brave, and he embodies the conceit of a powerful man who intends to defy his fate. So his fate is what? His fate is that he is going to be killed by the tiger. But he wants to defy that. He wants to disobey that. He wants to go against that fate. He is an autocratic dictator who uses his entire might, his entire power to fulfill his eccentric mission, his strange mission to kill 100 tigers. So he is on the mission to kill 100 tigers. The writer ridicules the way that the Maharaja uses to fulfill his oath. The writer is ridiculing the way that Maharaja is trying to fulfill his oath. He has taken an oath. He has taken the challenge that he would kill 100 tigers. He even marries a girl for the purpose of killing tigers. So here there are so many situations where we find the irony. The way taxes and bans are imposed and cancelled is quite mocking. The irony is that despite the killing of 100 tigers, the cause of his death is nothing else but a tiger made of wood. The very name of the kingdom, Pratibandhapuram. So what is Pratibandhapuram? Pratibandh, where there is a ban. Ban on what? That is the question here. Pratibandhapuram. So here that is also an example of irony, as it means a city of restrictions. Now what is irony? Here you will find quite opposite here. The expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite. And this is typically done for humorous effect. So it is a kind of literary technique where the character's words or actions is in order to amuse. But actually what do we find? We find totally different kind of things there, isn't it? Totally different kind of. So here the words which have been used, they have got a totally opposite result. Now here, though he has been able to kill 100 tigers, it is a wooden tiger which ultimately has killed him. But ironically, there is no restrictions for anyone. The story ends with a very ironical statement that death can creep in from the most harmless quarters. It was a toy which was a gift to his son. But death can creep from anywhere it can come. He never expected that he would be killed by the wooden piece. Question number 2. What is the author's indirect comment on subjecting innocent animals to the willfulness of human beings? What we see here, the king is very whimsical. It's the whims and fancies of this king. The story is a comment on subjecting innocent animals to the willfulness of human beings. The king killed 100 tigers just to prove the astrologer wrong. He wanted to go against whatever he had told. He had taken up a challenge at the time of his birth. The astrologers had predicted that he would meet his death from a tiger. He would be killed by the tiger. He may become warrior of warriors, champion of champions, hero of heroes, but ultimately he is going to be killed by a tiger just to prove himself mightier than the tigers. The Maharaja ruthlessly killed 100 innocent tigers. It was his pursuit to prove himself the most powerful that he didn't care about killing innocent animals. He wanted to defy his fate. He wanted to go against his fate and ultimately his own death. He thought that if he kills 100 tiger, he would not be killed by the tiger. But ironically enough, he met his death from a tiger, though it was a wooden one, though it was not a real one. Question number 3. This is the last question we are going to take up. How do you describe the behavior of the Maharaja's minions towards him? Maharaja's subjects or Maharaja's subordinates, Maharaja's officers who were accompanying him, minions towards him. Minions, actually the meaning of minions is followers or subordinates. So all those Maharajas, followers or subordinates, how you describe their behavior? For example, Diwan. Do you find them truly sincere or are they driven by fear when they obey him? The way the Diwan has followed him, the way the hunters have followed by killing the tiger, do we find similarity in today's political order? The Maharaja's minions were scared of him. The Maharaja's followers, they were really afraid of him, but had no respect for him. It is not that out of respect they do. They do it because the king would take action against them. They all obeyed him because they didn't want to lose their jobs. In fact, they were all sycophants. They were all praising him. Sycophants like chamchas. Just to please him, they supported his plan to kill 100 tigers. So nowadays around the politicians we find many sycophants. Even the Diwan had no courage to give the right advice to the king. Rather, he made efforts to please the king by bringing an old tiger from a circus from Madras because he had threatened Diwan. So therefore, even Diwan could not dare to give right advice to the king. Moreover, when the Maharaja missed his target, his hunters didn't tell him the real fact that the Maharaja had missed his target and the tiger was alive. But for fear of losing their jobs, what did they do? They have killed that tiger themselves. So it was only fear and not sincerity towards king that the minions, these followers, these subordinates are displayed. A situation, similar kind of situation you find that is prevailing, that is existing in the present political order. So it is out of fear the subordinates, the followers, they follow their leaders' advice. Whatever the leaders command them, they just follow that. Leaders' order they follow very blindly. No officer wants to go against the boss and be courageous enough to speak the truth. And that's why the hunters have not spoken the truth. The Diwan has not spoken the truth. They simply follow the rule. The boss is always right. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.